the sound that I play.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's Deckin Around.
What up?
I'm Tyler.
I'm Steve.
And for anyone who doesn't know, welcome to the show. Today, we're really excited. We're going to be having Cam Toner, one of our favorite people in the playing card community, on the show. For anyone who doesn't know Cam is the mastermind behind Organic Playing Cards. Cam has put out some of the most iconic decks in the market in the past probably couple of years here since the brand was funded. Does great work with them, amazing artwork. They're always fun and honestly just all around awesome dude. So we're really excited to have Cam on the show here today. We're also excited to just be back on the air live here. It's been a couple weeks and we're all happy to see everybody. We hope everyone had a good 4th of July weekend last weekend if you celebrate. If not, we hope you had a relaxing weekend altogether anyway. But dude, it's crazy. It's crazy to be back.
It is. Are you ready, dude?
I am almost ready, but I think before we need to jump into it here, we need everyone to go like the video and subscribe to the channel.
We do. Do it. Do it, everybody.
If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe, share it with your friends, get the video out there. And without further ado, let us bring on one of our most favorite people in the playing card community, the one, the only, Cam Toner.
Hello. Ooh, I like the sound effect. I didn't have that last time.
Oh man,
dude, I got my soundboard back.
We're getting fancy here. We got to make sure that it's we get the right sounds. That was the perfect sound for Cam coming in.
That was awesome. That was so cool.
Oh,
I haven't installed my old sounds yet, so I was like, which one can I play? That was perfect.
I feel like that's a good transition sound. We should have used that for like Cam turning into Grandpa Cam.
Yes, yes.
Sadly, we all know that the time to make that transition would be like 4 hours, so that's not a reality. But
right. Well, we could do the lazy one where I just glue on the mustache, but like gluing on the mustache like takes like 20 minutes, and then I still look.
Just use gum.
On that mustache. That mustache has been put on so many times.
Yeah, that's why you do gum. You can like smell some nice gum there.
You don't need to take Steve's advice when things come to like applique to your face.
Right.
Oh my God. But Cam, how you doing, man? It's been, you know what? I feel like we have you on from time to time for like a pre-recorded plug when you have a new deck drop. And we were talking about doing one the other day, and I was talking to Steve. I was like, yeah, we should just have Cam on for a Deckin Around. It's been, and I had to look back. It's been 64 episodes. So it's been more than a year. First time. So this is Cam Toner V2, but 64 episodes, dude. 64 between. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it was so cool. It's so cool just like how time passes.
Yes.
Like time is a weird construct, but like watching you guys like from the beginning, like being there in the beginning and watching what you guys have done is just freaking cool. It's super cool. And to still be a part of it is super cool.
Dude, we will, with 100%. And I have to say, if anyone hasn't checked out your first one, they can go see the evolution of Cam in his like college apartment with shitty ass Wi-Fi. I know I'm below the 10 minutes, but we needed it. Dude, that was like that epic level between there and now, seeing all three of our screens at this point now versus then just from the video production point of view. But
not to mention, he's also growing as a human. He now has fold out Boston attire, so he's getting smarter in his old age.
That's growth or regression. I'm not sure which. That's fine.
You're just mad because it's not like some New Jersey shirt.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it, man.
Mark, thank you.
And I'll be honest,
I don't know which one it is though. Okay, that one works.
Sorry, Mark, we're still tweaking the soundboard. But I got to say, and Steve, to your New Jersey t-shirt comment, you will come to New Jersey and you will not find New Jersey t-shirts, because in New Jersey, when you really want to show your love, you get a New Jersey tattoo.
No, so, you know what you do? You just put a lot of hairspray in your hair and you puff it up.
You don't use hairspray either. It's gel. It's gel and tattoos.
Let's say whatever.
So for anyone who comes to New Jersey, if you ever go to the shore or the beach, as most people call it, you go down there and you will see a ton of tattoos of New Jersey on people. That's our answer to t-shirts, because t-shirts fall apart, tattoos are forever. So
unfortunately, that's where I said smarter. The Boston people are smarter.
I don't have any New Jersey tattoos. I'm born and bred here. I love it for sure, but not my style tattoo. So oh my god. But no, we are excited.
One of the smart ones from Jersey.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We are excited though, Cam. If you want, I'm excited for you and this whole new Boston attire phase here, because I know it's not just you trying to like appease Steve or anything. Yeah. You're not trying to win any Steve brownie points here, but you have some major milestones coming up in life here, man.
Dude, yeah. The next year is going to be insane. Like it was really cool because during COVID, OPC really took off, and I was still in Indianapolis. My fiance was still in school. Like everything was just kind of at this like not it wasn't stagnant, but I feel like kind of how everyone felt over COVID. We were all just locked in our apartments and houses, and like we didn't do a lot.
Yeah.
And now we're moving to Boston. COVID restrictions are starting to lift. Things are getting better. And yeah, I'm super excited for like moving to Boston. I'm excited for what OPC is going to get to do in Boston. There's a lot more to shoot around,
a bean deck.
Yeah, something.
We have a deck coming that we're gonna film in Boston, don't we, Cam?
Oh yeah. Well, and the deck was before.
Yeah.
The deck
that's the cool thing, though. The deck was before.
Happened.
But it just happened to work out perfectly. That
fate played out well.
We were planning to go to Boston anyway to shoot the videos for it, so it's going to work out perfect.
Correct. It's going to be perfect. Well, plus, like, there's just not corn everywhere. Like, Shuckers was partially because we wanted to, but partially just because, like, I was tired of having to, like, find stuff around Indiana to shoot, and that wasn't the thing I was doing.
Are you going to do a chowder deck or a lobster deck?
He's down.
Oh. A chowder. It has to be named chowder.
You have to start dropping your R's.
Chowders. It's called chowders.
Yeah, it is. It is. Dude, a cannoli deck would be insane. I think a cannoli deck would be crazy.
I mean, a cannoli deck.
I love the cannoli.
That's not Boston. That's more like New York. New York, like Italian is like Boston, or not? Is cannolis there? But
yeah, Boston's like
beans.
I would say, yeah, you'd have to stick. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of
stick with chowder and lobster. Yeah,
I feel like lobster's almost Maine, even.
I mean, it's
seafood in general works with Boston.
It's just chowder,
Maine, but I think it definitely chowder is the way to. But
chowder,
stupid deck.
We'll definitely figure out what's going to be coming out of it. I'm excited, dude. Just in general, I mean, so in the next year, you're not only moving to Boston, you're finalizing your nuptials as well, correct?
Yes.
You're going to be a married man, which I think is exciting. And you've got a big smile on your face about it. So it's still a good thing.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, yeah, no, it's going to be so much fun. We're getting married at a museum. It's around a bunch of old stuff. So
that's dope, dude. Now, how is the move going to impact the wedding? Are you guys going to have to like fly back home for the wedding?
Yeah, we're going to have to fly back home for the wedding. We just had no idea where we'd be moving to. My fiance got her dream job at Boston Children's Hospital, which we didn't know she would get or not. So we just made the wedding here in Indianapolis. All of our family is in close vicinity. So yeah, we'll just have to fly back instead of everybody flying out.
Yeah, no, that's good. Congratulations to her, man.
Thank you.
Getting a job at any of the Boston hospitals, they're the best hospitals in the nation. Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, it's impressive, and it's definitely well deserved because we know how much she's been hustling for the past year with all the school and everything. I'm sure she's excited to be done and start real life. We'll call it.
Right. Oh yeah, real life, adult life. Yes, we're very excited.
Dude.
Our apartment is much smaller.
Oh yeah, it is.
Probably costs more too.
Smaller. It costs a lot more. OPC,
Make sure you have your warm jackets. Your earmuffs, your mittens.
Dude, okay, listen. I think Indiana winters are technically colder than Boston winters because I know that Boston is on the ocean.
Let's talk after the winter.
Okay. We'll re-talk because
we'll talk after.
The humidity here is like 90% all the time. Like I am damp now. I will be damp later. Like it's one of those things where it's just like, it's gross. My sweat doesn't evaporate. Yeah. So like in the winter, I'm just like cold the whole time.
Yeah. You wait. You let me know after your
I will.
Winter.
We'll make that on. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk then when you have to walk to the red line from your apartment, and we'll talk.
Right. Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I feel like there's a very good chance because is Boston farther north than like your area now? Yeah. So you're gonna get that off the coast. Yeah, you're going to get that off the coast, bitter, chill wind. It's going to be shitty. It's probably similar to what you would get in like Great Lakes areas, but probably a degree
Chicago.
tougher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's the northeast weather, man. It's terrible.
Nah.
It's horrible.
Not ideal, but yeah, no, hey, you know what though? good things come out of the cold, man. You know, spring comes out of the cold, and that's where the growth comes from. And it's perfectly fitting for OPC, a fruit, and now expand. Are peppers technically a fruit or a vegetable?
I think they're technically a fruit.
Okay, so I always have to ask this question when you come out of it with like coffee and like with roasters, and now with the peppers. I always have to ask, like, is it a fruit or a vegetable? What's the deal here? But
hold on, I think peppers are fruits. Peppers, fruit.
It is a fruit. So the two suggestions on Google are peppers fruits and are peppers good for you? And I think the answer to both is yes.
Yes.
So peppers actually have more vitamin C than an orange.
They do. That was on our Kahoot today. If anybody was, on our annual, Kahoot is like an online quiz, and like you get, it's like a competition. So we all hop on like a Google Meet call, either the day before launch or like the weekend before launch, and me, David Kohler, DK Magician on Instagram, and Small Hand Things, Caitlin Chen get together, and we make like a 30-question like Kahoot trivia quiz, and like you can take it on your phone with a code. So we hop on the Google Meet, and she shares her screen, and we all kind of like take the quiz together, and the top 3 usually get set decks as a prize.
That's really cool.
That's cool. And it's super cool because we get to like interact with everybody on this type of platform where like we're all far away but we're all together, so it's super fun.
All about that
if you
community.
missed this one, if you missed this one, show up at the next one. We have a crazy time. So much fun.
I don't know if I can handle the 3 of you together.
Oh my god,
Probably
I would love it. I would love it. Dude, Cam, it's going to be interesting to see too how that transition into Boston kind of impacts a little bit of the trailer aspects for OPC, because I think it's always really interesting that obviously pre and post COVID world, I hate to say we're post COVID because I think we're still in the midst of it, but more travel friendly COVID world, you are really big on the in-person aspect of creating these trailers. It's going to be interesting to see, like you said, new scenery, new things to do in Boston. I think that's going to be really a great benefit. It's also going to be, probably a little bit more of a line item expense there. Just flying to big cities is always pricier, but dude,
he already started to pull on the Boston accent for Grandpa Cam. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I noticed that in a couple.
I worked on it for a bit.
A couple of the videos, I noticed him. He went back and forth in the same clip. And I was
trying. I was really trying for you. Yeah. Well, I think it's it's just fun collaborating with another creative person.
Yeah.
And I think that things are better when you are in person together, especially if you get somebody like David with this last trailer, who's also a filmmaker, somebody that doesn't just make card videos and knows how to tell a story, and also spent $30,000 on film school, and we're not just in it as a card perspective. We sat when he got here and took 6 hours and wrote out a full script, like a 10-page script for this trailer, which I think was really cool, and just a different experience that I don't get with a lot of trailers.
Right.
So, and that's nothing against anybody that's been in a trailer before. It's just very two like-minded people in terms of film, know? So,
no doubt.
That's fun.
But yeah, it's actually with the new trailer that, came out. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Because speaking of Grandpa Cam earlier, Grandpa Cam has become such an interesting character, and that we're the continuation of Grandpa Cam. And I think we're starting to almost we kind of fell into the lap of making an organic cinematic universe, because I think it's so fun, especially with Marvel and other franchises like Lego that kind of do that, what's called transmedia marketing, that kind of gives, again, we've always been about stories, but now I think we're going to the next level with connecting all of the stories together.
Right.
So, all of the reels that we posted on our Instagram, the trailer, there's tons of Easter eggs in them to upcoming decks. And in other trailers, there will be references back to past trailers and past decks.
Right.
So it'll be really fun to kind of put together.
Yeah, no, that's exciting.
And so this trailer also brought in Grandpa Cam's partner in crime, we'll call her as well, which honestly, the second I saw that, I'm like, I love David. That dude is just amazing. If anyone's up for it, it's him. But how did the whole idea of Loretta come into play?
So first of all, I thought Loretta would just be really fun for like, just content and reels. Yeah, Loretta's a brand risk. It was what David and I continue to say. Loretta is such a brand risk. Like
you gotta have one. You gotta have one on staff.
Oh, for sure. And like, so it's
Tyler has me.
Yeah, jeez, yeah.
It's like that, but it's that comedic relief.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so funny that like Grandpa Cam like loves her, and she's just like not about it. You know what I mean? She's just like, no. She's like, I don't like that he's retiring. What am I gonna do with myself now? You know what I mean? Like, I can't do all this other crazy stuff I was doing before he was home. Like, it's just, I think it's really fun too, and it's fun how we're setting up the two characters of Daniel and Dave as well, being, you know, the kids of Grandpa Cam and Loretta. Yeah. So like there is that line. So yeah, it's one of those things. And plus I'm also a character. So like I'm basing this off of kind of my own family. So like I am technically Grandpa Cam's grandson, is like kind of the whole family line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it'll be cool to kind of like, you know, introduce that into new trailers and like play around with that whole like cinematic universe concept. So
it's fun, dude. Yeah. I really dig the recent trailer. It touched on some heartstrings that got people emotional. It was really
it did.
Cool. Yeah.
There will be a second. So we left you guys on kind of a cliffhanger. There is a second part to the trailer that will be posted on launch day.
Nice.
And we're very excited to kind of like wrap things up for you guys, because it's all in the air right now.
Yes, it is. Even though Team Saucy is cooler.
No, okay. So here's some behind the scenes. So when David and I are writing the script, right, we're like Dave is the kid who stayed home, right? So like he should be kind of mean to his brother, because like he's mad at him for leaving. But then we just went off the deep end with Dave and just made him a total prick.
Yeah,
like the more we filmed, just the meaner he got. And at the end, we're kind of just like, you know, that happens. Oh wait! Oh my goodness! Oh, hold on! Oh my gosh! We have a guest caller. Do we mind taking on a guest caller? I think my grandma's calling me.
Let's do it.
Hold on. Here, can
Loretta,
Grandma?
is that you?
Hello?
Can you guys hear her?
Yes.
Hello?
Okay.
Hi, Loretta.
Okay, what's Steve says hello.
Oh my god.
Who's Steve? I don't know Steve.
Oh, remember that whole thing I told you I was doing on Deckin Around, Grandma, on the computer?
I'm trying to watch it right now, but I was hoping that you could explain to me how it works. I don't understand how this computer works.
So Grandma, I sent you the link. I'll just send it to you after. Don't worry about it, Grandma.
Okay, all right. I think we might have a virus. You know, your grandfather. He keeps sending money to that Nigerian princess, and I don't.
You need to tell Grandpa not to do that. I know he just spouts out his Social Security.
He doesn't listen to me.
He doesn't.
No.
Okay, well, the guys at Deckin Around say hello, and I'll send it to you after, Grandma.
Okay, all right. I love you, sweetie.
I love you too. Goodbye.
All right, bye-bye.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
We were on the Kahoot earlier, and he was like, "Do you think I should do that?" And I was like,
"Yeah, yeah, of course."
You know what's funny? And I'm trying to remember her name. Okay, there we go. The voice is dead on for Roz from Monsters Inc.
Oh, that's
we have a reel about that. We did a reel with that.
It's so good. It's so good. Because I was just like, I love it. First off, David, you're my favorite person in the world after Cam. Second, though, and Caitlin, you're in the mix too. Don't worry, we're not forgetting you because we love you as well.
Oh
but dude, that is hilarious. I love how the universe is expanding now. And the fact that it ties back, it's going to be an interesting little like time travel wormhole when we build out this whole family here. But
yep, it is.
At some point, there needs to be like an OPC family reunion trailer where it's just, I mean, it would probably take you days to do with all the makeup and
how about
everything.
Like a holiday meal? That'd be cool, like a family dinner type thing. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, just wait. Oh yeah, I have a lot of time. I can see it now. How long it's going to take? It's going to take forever. Well, for instance, So David, first of all, doing the Loretta voice, went through a whole like large family-sized bag of Halls.
Oh my
like,
God, I can't even imagine,
thing.
dude.
Yeah.
His throat's got to be torn up from that.
It was bad. Like I called him to make sure he recovered okay when he got home. I was like, "Are you good?" And it was rough on him. So I appreciate that. But two, like a lot of those shots in the trailer, especially when David's in the same frame, there was one specific shot where Dave is like looking over the fridge after Daniel opens it to look inside.
Yeah.
That shot took us an hour.
Yeah.
That literal like 5-second clip took us an hour to shoot it right, because we just couldn't figure out how to mask it the best, you know?
Yeah.
And it's that kind of stuff that people would just like, oh, that's a cool shot, but they don't like think it takes that long, but it does.
And honestly, you know, it's always interesting to see too, because I think another great member of the community who always shows the effort that goes into it's Shawno. You know, Shawno from that same point of view.
Insane.
I mean, his film capability is next level, but he also shows, like, I remember he was doing for a while little reels showing how to make like a continuous loop with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, like this only took me 45 minutes. And when you think about that, it's like, all right, this is like a 15-second video, 45 minutes. Like, it's crazy how much time actually goes into these trailers and everything that you guys do on the social media side. And it's always really impressive. It really is.
It takes a long time. I mean, even like Nick Suriano or Chris Brown, or you have people that are really creating a lot of high level material. It takes a long time.
It does, but I think that it's worth it, because I think the biggest part is that like I don't want, as a card brand, for us to just be playing cards. Like I want people engulfed into like what we're doing. You know what I mean? And to the stories. Like again, Marvel is just such, like, Marvel was the creator of this ginormous thing. And like I'm a huge Marvel fan, so I sit and I watch all the, you know, the Loki episodes that are out, the WandaVision, like huge into it. And like I want, like, from a consumer point of view, I want people to have that same excitement when the next OPC trailer drops, or when the next deck drops, or like when we tease an Easter egg for the next deck. Like, I want that excitement to be there, and for it to not just be like a transaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. We can't wait. It makes it just more interesting to look forward to it, you know?
It really does. I mean, it also allows you to build out like the brand as more than just like, I mean, there's so many brands out there who have no story, and they do fine. It really, it works out in some scenarios, but really to build that brand loyalty and that brand interaction is what you want, because you end up creating not just customers, you end up creating a family around it. And I know for every conversation I feel like we have with you, the community aspect of it is so important. You do so much for the community to help build the brand and the community together. It's such an interesting way to kind of build out that trailer aspect. And I mean, even seeing you bringing people in for the trailers, we talked about it with Roasters when you brought Maggie in for it. You've had, you know, Caleb, who I know has been in the chat, has been in some of your trailers in the past. So many great people have come into these trailers who either are known in the community or maybe are kind of known, but getting more visibility onto these people is another way that you just as a brand keep building up everyone else's value proposition. And I think that's one of the things I love about OPC in general is you're not just here to enrich yourself. You're here to enrich everybody as best as you can.
Yeah. And it's cool to see you're not just bringing in cardists, you know, and, you know, recently you've brought in a lot of like a few magicians, which is really awesome to see, you know, because ultimately your deck is definitely, you know, geared towards magicians as well. You know, it's not just cool for cardistry.
Right. And that's what I want. Like, I want decks to be like an everyday carry.
Yeah.
Like when I get asked questions, like for instance, I love the exotic deck. I love the concept of it. It's super cool, super shiny. I'm sure you guys got one laying around. Super freaking shiny.
Dude,
I love
just so
like watching.
shiny.
I like just watching the reflection like on my hand. It's so cool. I will never carry that deck around with me. See, that's just me. Like, it's not an everyday carry deck.
Yeah.
That's like and I had such a confliction with myself, because I'm like I want this to be super like shiny and like luxury, because you've had to build up to this point. But like part of me is like sad, because like I'm not going to carry that deck around with me.
It's
like
so
I've had
it totally makes sense. It's funny because like Yeah, I mean, there's days where you just want to carry around bling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of fell into the you fell into the collector's trap with this one. And I think it worked out really well. I mean, it honestly is. It's a super flashy deck for anyone who hasn't gotten their hands on the exotic yet. Obviously, the OPC passport program is still there, still option. So keep picking up your OPC decks and get your little stickers with it, and you can get the exotic deck. But I 100% agree. You built a collector's deck and then realized that the problem with collector's decks is most people don't play with them. And you're kind of like,
which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, for it being the exotic deck and it coming for the passport, and like you having to build up to this point, it can't just be like a regular deck. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to have some other value. And I loved what we did with it. The foil turned out absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my heart, I'm just like, I have to have a deck that I can just carry around. That's still fun, but you know, I'm not a big shiny deck person.
Yeah.
You know, so
that makes sense. It's funny because I'm literally playing with a
shiny deck.
Yeah, I'm beating this one into the ground.
Just wait until you move to Boston. You'll become very East Coast bling. You'll be only doing shiny decks.
Only shiny decks.
Grandpa Camp's gonna have to get like a tracksuit.
Wait till you meet Janice.
Janice. Oh yeah,
you'll start talking like a Jewish mom.
Yeah.
I'm schwitzing over here.
Oh, Steve, your mom is a character in and of herself. She doesn't even need an OPC trailer.
She should be a cartoon character for sure.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But dude,
I think the trailers are gonna get like, again, I'm saying it now. Trailers are gonna get crazier. It like David and I sat down watching actually on my Mac that's here to my right. And we're watching this trailer, and I'm literally kicking myself because I'm like, how do we make one better than this? You know what I mean? Every time it's like it's cool to set a new bar, but then you're like, oh my gosh, like there's so much more pressure and so much more like, well, like you have to do better. You know what I mean? You have to keep doing better. So it's fun to find ways to make things even better the next time and the next time, you know?
Yeah. No, you know, I have no doubt that you guys will create amazing things as you move forward.
And that's the challenge of that too, man. Every time you hit that pinnacle, that's just more motivation to get to the next one. It's so much easier to do, hey, we have a consistent stream of decent trailers. Why go outside that bound? Pushing yourself to the limit every time is what makes the brand grow so well and makes these so much more fun. I mean, I'm sure if we looked at like some of your original trailers where it was so much more focused on the visuals versus the story until now, like the difference, I heard the groan there. I'm sure looking back, you're like, oh man, there's so many missed opportunities I could have done with this to make it even more exciting. But it's just, that's the evolution, you know?
Right. Well, also kind of like Deckin Around, I started OPC when I had no idea how to work a camera. Like, I had no idea what a camera was. Like, I didn't know how to work one. And through OPC, I've become a filmmaker. So, like, looking at, like, the Squeezers V1 trailer compared to, like, this last trailer, you're like, oh, my gosh. Like, what in the world? Like, this isn't the same person making this, you know? So...
That's cool, though.
That's good. Yeah, that's good that you can see the growth there. And I think from that point of view, it allows you to really show that you're progressing. You know, I mean, we see it even in the most pure form. You look at it now, how many decks you were printing before to how many decks you're printing now. That in and of itself shows the evolution of what OPC has become. I mean, you guys are crushing it with this one, no pun intended. But like all things considered, man, just that growth alone shows how much the impact you guys have on the community. And, you know, I don't think it's necessarily the right move to just distill it all down to a number. But if you really look at it, if you needed to on the fly, it's like we used to sell these many decks. Now we sell this many decks. Clearly there's progress there. And I think the fact that you continue to strive to find ways to make the whole experience better is the important part. You know, you're not just selling a deck of cards, you're selling the experience. You're selling the fun and the familial vibe to it and everything.
Now, when do these drop?
These drop Wednesday. July 14th is when these drop.
It looks so good. Are you still sticking with the new 1 p.m. drop times? Are you back to 11 a.m.? Okay, 1 p.m.
No, we're sticking with the 1 p.m. Yeah, just because a lot of people, in terms of like West Coast.
Yeah.
It helped them kind of like be more awake.
No,
and
completely
like our
understandable.
Europe people, so the like people that have access to the early access are going to be getting that again. And then so that'll be on the 13th. Yeah, these go live on the 14th on Wednesday. There are 3,000. Technically on the box says 3,000. If you know USPCC, they always print 500 over whatever you print for like extra decks and that kind of stuff. So we technically printed 7K with both combined, but there's only 3,000 of each available. And depending on how these do, we will hopefully be locking in a full 1-deck 7K run for the future.
Very nice.
And that's like a big deal.
That's
like,
a
I know
that's
people are
huge.
like, you've sold out 5K, but like 2,000 decks is 2,000 decks.
That's a lot.
Like,
That's
it's
a lot.
scary. Like, it's really scary to just like when you're in that 5,000 range to just like ship it to 7K. Like that's
And
it's
here's
so
the thing.
hard.
So 2,000 decks is a lot, but 2,000 decks is way more than 2,000 decks after you've sold the first
5,000.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you know what? Like we say to you all the time, it's all good to have 2,000 decks for a couple days after.
Yeah.
And and I think that's one of the things that's always resonated with me when we have these discussions with you as well, is it's not about how quick it sells out. It's exciting to see something sell out quick, but you've always been cognizant of the fact that if it sells out that quick, it means you should have printed more or could have printed more because there's still demand there. And trying to find that level is a difficult thing. And I think, a lot of times people get frustrated out there because they're like, why didn't you just print 10,000? Why didn't you print 15,000? And I think a lot of times, especially people forget how young of a brand OPC is. You're still figuring out what that right cadence is, because at the same time, if you print 10,000 and after 6,000 no one cares, you're now sitting on 4,000 decks that could take years to sell. And so that's a very scary aspect from that entrepreneurial aspect is, hey, like this is coming out of pocket, we're funding it, we're trying to figure out what the right number is. So I think the one good thing about it on your side is that you hit a level and you say, okay, let's give it a couple tries, see how it does there. You hit 5,000, you ran a couple 5,000 decks, it worked well enough. Now you want to bump to 7. If 7 does great, you're not just going to be like, all right, let's do 9. You're going to see how 7 runs for a bit. And then maybe it goes up, then maybe it stays at 7. But I think that's the smart way to do it. And I think from the business point of view, it's easy to realize that's the right move. From the consumer point of view, though, it's tough to always see that.
It is. Yeah. Well, and I think another thing that's tough too is that, like, in terms of lines, like, we're not just changing the color and throwing you the same deck. You know what I mean? It's not like, I can print, I can just, oh, well, man, I should have printed 10K of these and just like print a different color that's the same deck to sell 10K of. Like, we're coming out with new lines consistently. We're coming out with new concepts. Shuckers was one of the scariest launches of my entire OPC career.
I remember that one, man. You were nervous.
I was so nervous because it was so different. And like that was the biggest knock on OPC. The biggest knock on OPC was that, we didn't try anything different in terms of back designs. And like, we weren't super experimental. So I was like, you know what? Like, this is the only bad thing that's said about us. Like, let's just do it. Let's make something super cool now instead of later. And then Shuckers happen. So, I want to make sure that we're still trying to expand, bring new ideas to the table. And it's hard just to go from 5K to 10K, but the 10K run is going to be this totally new concept or this different line. And then if it flops, it's going to flop even harder because there's so much of it. You know what I mean?
So for sure. It's hard to, here's the thing, what a lot of consumers don't understand is, even if your previous decks have been big, right? You can create a deck that you think is going to fucking go crazy, and then it could flop. And you really have no control over that. Then you're stuck with a ton of decks or whatever. How many people have we talked to that have been like, yeah, I had no idea. I thought, it was just going to be okay. And then it crushes. No, I'm thinking probably it was going to be okay, but it crushes. It sells out. Yeah. And then you have people who think something's going to crush. Nobody likes it. So it's, we see it on Kickstarter all the time.
Yep.
We're like, how the hell did this
hard.
fund? And then we see ones that didn't fund, and we're like, how the hell did
Why
this
didn't
not
that fund?
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude. And at the end of the day, it's better to play the cautious game. You know, people may get upset, but ultimately, like, you're never going to get people. I mean, and again, actually, I don't want to say never. It's a consistency thing. If you have people who are consistently missing out, yes, you need to up your print run. You need to figure that out. But it's going to take 3 or 4 times of people missing out on a drop before they're like, wash their hands, I'm done with this. I mean, not to drag anyone through the mud. We're not going to talk about other brands in this way, but like as a prime example, you look at Fontaine, who people, even at 10,000 print runs, are always complaining that they're missing out on the decks, but those same people are always at the drops trying for them. So people are resilient in their desire to get a deck that they like, but at the same time, it's not always as simple as saying, hey, let's triple the print run or double or even add 1,000 extra to the print run, because that 1,000 extra has an associated cost, and that associated cost could be a lot more than that $3,000 that those 1,000 decks actually cost. Like that $3,000 could have been something that you put to another future project if they don't sell, and now you can't do that because of it. It's really crazy, the impact, and I think that's one of the things we always love having you on to talk about, is because you're willing to kind of share some of this insight and some of the behind the scenes and really share what goes into all of this stuff, because it makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, and that too is because like we have projects, we already have three more decks in printing. Like
that's crazy.
We already our design is already ahead to the end of this year, beginning of next year. So like it's one of those things where it's to consistently release every 2-ish months. You know, we're pumping out a lot of decks, so like you won't see changes for a few decks because of that.
Yeah.
You know, so in terms of print runs, like we've tried to increase our print runs, but here's the thing from my perspective, like I never want somebody to have them in their cart and be checking out like the second they drop. So they put them in their cart, they sell out in a minute. Oh my gosh, I didn't get them. That would upset me. Our decks though take 4 or 5 hours to sell out. So if you're there on time and you like are there in the first hour, you're usually fine. Like you can usually get the deck. Caitlin has accidentally bought decks. Like it's really funny. I'll be on a live with her and she'll like go to see and like check out and see if they're still available. And then she'll just accidentally check out. And she was like, well, like, oops, I bought more.
Oh my God.
Stop. I'm like, don't do that.
You can't go wrong with more though. I have to say, you can't go wrong with them.
Yeah. So like I think that there's like that, like we've talked about, that middle ground of like, do we want to print more so that we don't sell out in the first day? Like, yes, that's the goal we're working towards, but at the same time, like if you're there on time or in the first hour, you're usually fine.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about other brands here, but even though you look at someone like Orbit, who has the same philosophy, their last drop, they sold out a lot quicker than they expected. And that's how it goes sometimes.
And not only did they sell, like he printed a lot more than what he thought would be. Like efficient.
His game plan's always like, hey, they'll sell out over the course of several months, and you want everyone to get them because you don't know how people are going to react to it. And that's the other part of it that makes it so tough, is there is no perfect formula. Even once you figure out, hey, this is my plateau level, I know I'm going to print X every single time. One of those could take 4 days to sell out. One of them could take an hour to sell out, just based on how much people like the design.
Yep.
And that's the other tough part about it, is you're always coming with new designs. And we actually had a really good question that just came in here. Where are we at? I just saw it from Chris that said, would you ever do a Shuckers type back design, but with no borders?
See, here's so I'm gonna say no. And here's why. I just don't like borderless decks. I am not a borderless deck person. Like I know that, some people are borderless, some people aren't. And again, like my goal for the decks is for them to be like my everyday carry, something I would carry with me every day. But 2, for it to be, kind of universal in terms of, like I think Steve said earlier, our cards aren't just for cardists. Like they're also for magicians. They're also for card collectors. So trying to keep that in mind. I don't know if a borderless deck kind of has that same, like, versatility as a bordered deck. We do have some stuff in the work in terms of breaking borders, though. I will give you that little sneak peek. So if you like broken borders,
Nice.
then
That's exciting.
I always love broken borders. I think they fan beautifully, but dude, that's exciting.
So
and that's what a lot of it is, though, too, is that experimental side of it. You know, like you said, the Shuckers was the most nerve-wracking for you again.
Yeah.
While you may not go a full bleed deck with it, would you ever experiment down that kind of like non-traditional OPC style with another deck, you think?
I think so. It all really depends, because again, like looking at the sales of it, it sold out, but it took all day. You know, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so like we're not seeing as much demand for this type of deck, but we're seeing huge demand in our original style decks.
Yeah.
You know, and I forget who I was talking to about this the other day, but in terms of, if you look at roasters and shuckers, right? So roasters is still pretty different because it has that latte art pattern in the background behind the coffee, right? So in my head, I specifically wanted to do roasters soon after shuckers, because like if you think about it, shuckers was just going off the deep end, right? And then, you know, we pulled everybody back and everyone was like, oh, this is better, like the roasters are better. I think if we would have came out with the roasters first, people might have been a little bit quicker to be like, oh, well, like this isn't the same style, I don't know if I like it. You know what I mean? So we kind of like punched hard and then kind of pulled back a little bit in terms of like switching up the backs. Actually, a fun little tidbit about the new decks. It came out better on the red spicy deck than it did the green deck. But if you look really close in person when you get them, the red deck has like specks of sauce in the background color. So, you know, there is kind of that like patterny feel still that the roasters kind of had, just not as like upfront noticeable as the roasters were.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're always experimenting. We're always trying new things.
Yeah. It's interesting because I can always tell which decks are, you know, more desirable, because obviously having the store, I see which decks sell on my end too.
Right.
You know, out of OPC or whatever decks they are, you know, so it's cool to see which decks people like better than others. Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, like, one, I think like I should make decks that I enjoy, like, because I mean I'm doing this because it's me, like there's a part of me in everything that is OPC, so like I feel like I have to like it. I'm not just going to be making decks that I think other people will like. But there is also that other side where you kind of have to keep the generalized community in mind when you're making.
I mean, they're buying your shit.
Yeah,
you can't do everything that you like. You know,
right.
You have to somewhat do a little bit of what the consumer wants, because that's buying stuff.
So yeah,
that's cool.
So
that angry Bostonian came out in Steve there real quick. I saw it.
He did. He said, "Hey."
I love it. This. This could be Cam in a year.
It is. It's gonna be so.
I'm such a bad angry Bostonian. I really am.
I love it, because we're such like a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. When it comes out, you're just like, oh shit, yeah, he's really from Boston.
Yeah, you're.
Here's the thing: it takes a lot to get that out of me. But if I get it out of me,
game on.
Better run.
It's out.
Man. Better run.
Oh, okay. I love it. I love it. So Cam, now? This isn't just a you and McKenna move though, too. You have your cats. How is all of that planning going?
The cats. So we bought them a ginormous crate, right? They're all three in here with me somewhere. I think they're all three in here. We have just I bought like a big like golden retriever dog cage that they're gonna be in the back of my stepmom's like car with some like boxes and stuff around it. But they're gonna have a litter box and their food, and they're just gonna kind of hang out there while I'm driving the U-Haul.
Nice.
So yeah, so they'll be able to walk around. They have space. It's huge. It's a huge like crate. So that's gonna kind of be the game plan.
Cool.
It is a 15-hour drive. Yeah, it is a long drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and or 16 hours. So it's far away.
Are you doing a straight shot too? You're not gonna stop for the night or anything?
We will. We'll stop. We're actually gonna stop in upstate New York, where I just got back from. Because we actually go straight through where my dad's side of the family's from. So we're gonna be staying with my aunt overnight, and then just making I think it's like a 3-hour drive.
That's not too bad.
Where she's in upstate New York out to Boston. So
nice. That's
very
cool.
nice, man.
That's kind of the goal.
Right on.
It's exciting though. It's always good to break up drives like that too, because that's just a long time in the car, and that's brutal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just made that drive back. It's a great time. It's a great time. Because we don't fly, we just drive out there, which I don't know why we just decided to do that, but I don't make the rules. I go.
Nice.
So,
dude, you're learning quick.
Yeah.
So,
I am, yeah.
So Jay just came in and he was
hello.
asking if we actually even touched up on the new decks yet, and we haven't. So
we have a little bit, but we haven't a lot.
Right, we haven't shown pretty much of anything yet.
No.
Other than the back design of the spicy.
Yes.
Dope back design.
Can get this in focus here.
There we go.
Cam, we got to get you an autofocus lens.
Oh no, I have an autofocus lens. My webcam thing wasn't working, so you're plugged into my capture card. So I have to have the autofocus off. Yeah. So, but there's the back design. I pulled out some of my favorite quartz. I'd have to say, of course, the King of Hearts.
Man, I love that.
Spicy ramen.
Spicy ramen. This is a shout out to Bao.
Nice.
Over at the ramen deck. I asked him which his favorite court was, and he said the King of Hearts. And I said,
Bao was in here earlier, and we love all of Bao's decks. So, dude, and I was telling you earlier too. I think the one thing that I really like that runs through both decks is that contrast color you use, whether it's the green or the red. You go with this like kind of like nice cream color.
Yeah, we kind of had to have something to break it up in terms of the colorway. I knew that I liked the deep red and like that like fire truck red.
Yeah.
But you always just need something to like break up the court in terms of like contrast. And like actually I took kind of that cream color from the seeds.
Nice.
Is kind of where I got that color.
That makes sense.
So I try to always pull from whatever fruit or vegetable or whatever we're doing in terms of like the colorways.
Nice.
So and then we got the saucy deck, which, you know, I think both of them, we really wanted to make it different in terms of the back design.
Dude, look at that registration. On point.
Yeah.
Pretty damn close.
USDCC did me good on that. Yeah. And then we got some jalapeno mac and cheese.
Heck yeah.
You know, we've got some, you know, walking tacos, nachos with jalapenos. Got some cornbread.
Nice.
Oh yeah. All the things. So I got one more. I'm just holding the hot sauce bottle.
Nice.
So,
majestic,
but yeah,
hot sauce.
And then here I can go ahead. We always show off the half brick. Now I've shown off the front on our Instagram.
Yeah, you did.
You guys have seen this, but I always save you guys something. I didn't post the back.
Nice.
So before this, I had a little, you know, our story on it. But we have a different Scoville scale on the back compared to the tuck boxes.
Nice.
So
that's cool.
I'll just leave it at that.
Dude, I love the look of that. I really like just kind of the display case aspect of it. It really looks like a 2-pack of sauce, which is hilarious.
Right. Yeah, that's what I wanted, because I wanted it to, like, you know, at Christmas time when they have like all the packs of hot sauce that you can buy for like Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
And they're like packaged. That was the inspiration for them. So
that's cool.
But yeah.
Totally crushed it.
Well, thank you.
Dude.
Yeah, the half brick boxes are always like the most fun part for me.
So now,
and I really wanted this to be like a choose your side type campaign as well.
Yeah.
Which I
really like.
Across.
Kind of reminds me of like some of the old like Dorito campaigns.
Yeah, or like left Twix, right Twix is kind of what I was going for. Yeah.
Dude, I like it. And so now, do you have the same designer design your decks as you do the half brick?
Yes.
All right. And you've had the same designer now for a while.
We have, yes. She actually had to take, Alexis, who is freaking awesome. She's on our website.
We're dropping her IG in the chat right now as well.
Alexis is dope.
She is super awesome. She's had to take some time off. So I think like there's 2 or 3 decks coming up that she didn't get to work on. But we're actually fully hiring her on as like our full-time designer starting in September.
She's
so
awesome.
She will be the full-time gig.
Does that mean you're going to have to trek down here to, you know, meet up with her and work? You know what's awesome about that? I'm literally 15 minutes around the corner. So
I know.
you and I are
know
getting
you are.
pancakes, buddy. We getting pancakes.
Yeah, we are.
Oh
We're
man,
getting
I'm
pancakes.
excited. I'm really excited.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. Cause like especially just being close to that, like East Coast. Kevin's in
Yeah.
Toronto. It's gonna make having like, you know, kind of work get-togethers a little easier as well.
Yeah.
So and yeah, I think it'll be fun too, just to have again somebody that's just not. It's like I love Kevin, but like I like more of the group aspect of OPC.
Yeah.
So and like Kevin and her don't get to interact as much. So like I think it'll be really fun for all of us to get together and, you know, kind of have a little, you know, brainstorm sesh. So
Yeah,
That's
she's
awesome,
awesome.
dude.
She's great.
she's super cool.
Yeah, if anyone has not checked out her work, I did drop her IG in the chat and I pinned it to the top there. Check out her Instagram. She does phenomenal work.
She's super dope.
It's all like food oriented as well. And I think the one thing I always love about it is she does very architectural style drawings of food of restaurants she eats at. So ironically enough, she was fated to make OPC decks. No question about it.
If you've ever seen the Great British Bake Off, any of those shows, the way they do their designs, like in between when they're showing what the cooks are cooking or baking,
that's what she does.
That's what she does. Super dope.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Like I absolutely love it. And for me personally, being like semi-locally oriented with her, being able to see restaurants that I've eaten at pop up from time to time, I'm like, that is a good cake there. Or that is good food. I'm like, I know this place. That's awesome. And there's a restaurant down the road, and one time I walked in and her stuff was on the wall, and I was like, oh no shit. So
that's cool. Yeah.
Dude,
so
she's dope.
She's also designing Steve and I's deck as well.
She
so
is.
For those of you that don't know about that yet, Steve and I are collaborating outside of OPC on a fun little deck. So we're very excited for that.
Yes.
Which is going to have some nice Boston undertones to it as well.
oh, for sure. 100%.
It's going to be fun. It's definitely a fun one.
Dude.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm excited to see it too. Honestly, I get sneak peeks from time to time, but I don't even
see what we have so far.
I've seen where you're at, and I love it. But I know that even halfway through the design process or 3/4 through, so much can change. And that's part of what I also love about that whole thing. So it's like, even if I've seen now where it's at, it won't be 100% different, but it could be significantly different between now and final, aspects of it. So
yeah, we're excited.
Yeah. Speaking of designs changing, I have actually started doing this. People have been asking me forever to like see past like design concepts that never made it, or past design concepts that nobody ever saw. Because like, again, we've talked about this. I feel like a lot this episode. There's a lot that like people don't see.
Yeah.
So I finally tracked down a lot of photos. And actually, on Thursdays, I'm starting to actually post Throwback Thursdays. I've done a couple of them so far of like, through the decks, like different things that have happened and like different designs that didn't make it, different colors that we, decided in between. So if you're not following the Instagram, go do that. If you're an OPC fan.
If you're not following
you got to be on the Instagram.
You have an issue. Go follow it.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we forget, we should do our deck sniff. You are is he the first person that's actually doing his second deck
so
sniff?
He's not, because he was on before we started the deck sniff. So you've never done a deck sniff even though you've been on twice. So this is exciting.
Nice.
Because you finally get to participate in the tradition.
Are we gonna see you open up a brand new deck, or what's the deal?
Yeah, 100%. What do you want me to open?
Whatever you want, dude.
I don't know, whatever comes after the peppers.
I wish I had it.
Oh man, I had to try.
Man, this is gonna be my first deck sniff.
Yeah,
dude, this needs to be like a big one.
Oh, dude, we're gonna go big. Hold on. What do I got over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Screw it. I haven't opened up one of these in forever.
He's going big, fellas.
Oh,
nice.
We're just gonna go as hard as possible. That's like my mantra.
Dude.
We're just gonna go as hard.
Just so you know, Cam, you can solo it back up.
Nice. I can do what? I can
solo it back up.
Oh yeah, because it's like this is like it's so weird that this is like $200.
I love it. Dude, it's crazy to think that something you've created has appreciated and valued that much though, right?
Nice.
Yeah,
I love
we
that
sold these for
color.
$8.
Dude,
$8.
shows you how much people love them, man. Shows you how much people love them.
Crazy. Actually crazy.
Steve's just pressing
Okay, so
buttons
what
now.
are we rating? What are we
So,
rating?
Yeah,
The
whatever.
way we
You
kind
can
of look
give us
at
a
it,
little
yeah,
wine
it's completely
tasting.
up to you. We usually recommend the kind of like wine tasting style where like you get notes of nutty flavor or whatever you want to say. But anything you want to do, if you want to rate it on a best to worst smells you've ever smelled 1 to 10, go for that also.
It's definitely got, I can like tell it's kind of older.
All right.
Like it's not like new books, you know, when you open up like a
little bit of a
newer deck of
muskiness to it.
cards. Yeah.
All right,
Well, but
interesting.
like, so it's not like these. This is in a case that I've had because it doesn't have a top on it anymore. And these were one of the first Peelers V1s I ever opened that I've like kept. And like I use these every day because of course I was like, this isn't ever gonna happen again.
Right.
And like just to show you how gross these are,
Yeah.
like you can see just like the grime and the muck.
Dude,
it's just
sometimes
all
the grime
on
and
these.
sometimes that stuff is like so good. Where's mine?
Yeah, but this smells horrendous.
Yeah, dude. It
This
smells like
smells like
vegetable.
my
It smells like
grandfather's
oil.
basement.
Like oil and stuff.
Not even. This smells like an old house. This smells like this smells like an old house of just like a bunch of old books.
Dude,
This smells like a.
check this out. Tell me.
No, I see it. Oh,
Oh my God, that's so
it's just
gross.
the Joker. Oh, that's gross. That's
Well,
bad.
it's a full bleed deck, so that's why you have that stuff on the back.
With
But
ink
dude, this is
speckled like shit too.
yeah, dude, this is super old, but it feels so good.
Nah.
I would have to say that this smells like a museum.
All right.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's like fresh and it's clean, but it's not new. You know. You know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, these are nice.
Dude, here's the interesting thing about it, though, Cam. I think for most people, if they had opened that deck, it would have removed some of the value. But you, being the creator of this deck, having opened and touched it, this thing's probably now worth $250.
Dude, sign that shit real quick.
Sign it,
there
dude. I don't like that's another thing that's so weird to me is like people ask me
100%.
if they can if I can sign the decks that they buy, or like somebody's reached out and was like, can you have like gamblers ship you like 100 of them and like sign them, and then random people get them, and like that's weird for me because like I'm just a person. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm just a person.
I hear you.
It's
I'm
so weird.
I'm the same way. It's funny because there's a creator that when they
Here you go. Here's Caitlin real quick. Can I accidentally buy it from you for $300?
Facts. Actual facts.
That's funny. There's a creator that does Kickstarters and they have signed decks. You can get it signed if you want. And nothing against the person. Like I love the person, but I'm like, yeah,
right.
Like, signed decks for me kind of ruin the deck.
Yeah. I wouldn't want somebody that expected a not signed deck to get a signed deck and then not like it.
Yeah.
The other thing with this is these didn't have bananas.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. These were just straight up ports, except
recolored.
they were partially recolored.
Yeah.
But like,
so
they're
what
just
actually
straight
prompted
up.
you to bring the fruit into like the hands and add that aspect of the theme to it?
Dude, when we made Peelers V1, we had actually no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't this originally like a PowerPoint slide?
Yeah, listen. So we had to get the banana and put it into Photoshop. And I remember that Nate went through pixel by pixel and outlined it. Because we got the banana from somebody. And then I designed the box in Photoshop. I took an Adobe stock image of a crate, like the front of a crate. And I literally just like copied and pasted it. And like, I like, what is that tool? I like spot tooled some of the notches out to make it all look different.
Yeah.
And like the logo, I made that logo for Peelers in a PowerPoint slide.
Nice.
Like,
I love
exported it.
I
had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing.
You know what the greatest thing is?
No idea how to use Illustrator.
The greatest thing about that is you still use the same box and the same design.
Dude, humble beginnings. That's where it's at.
So cool.
Because people loved it clearly, and the fact is, why change something that works in that scenario? Yeah. Like if you came out with like a Peelers V4 and it was in a completely different tuck box, people would probably not like it as much because it didn't have that same vibe.
Same feel. Yeah. So, so the original,
when's the purple peelers coming out?
the purple ones, the purple peelers.
I want the purple potatoes.
He's like, dude, purple.
You got plums,
But-
Steve. If you want purple deck, plums. Yeah.
No, I'm not a huge. I have purple plums in the draw, but
And the
I'm
draw.
a huge plum fan.
I'm not. I had to stop for a second. I'm like, what's a draw? Like he drew purple plums. The
Oh
drawer.
my God.
Okay, I get it now.
A drawer. How's
A
that?
drawer?
A drawer.
But to go off of what we were saying, to actually answer your question in a roundabout way, we barely like made the peelers V1 a thing. So
Right.
like when we got to do it again, we already had in mind tons of things that we were going to do differently.
Yeah.
Like the pip colors, like I wanted them both to be, I wanted like, more of, well, and with peelers V2, it was the teal and salmon as the pip colors. But yeah, we wanted them to be holding or stuff that had to do with oranges. We wanted to do something a little more contrasty with the back in terms of the green and orange. Like we had a lot of stuff we wanted to do differently.
Right.
So that's kind of where the idea behind the quartz came. So yeah.
No, that's cool.
No, I like it though, and it really switched things up. And honestly, it stood the test of time. I mean, you're how many decks into the mix here now, and every single one has had this creative outlet of different things. And the one thing I love about that too is that's probably my favorite part about opening an OPC deck. It's like, all right, what are the courts going to be? Let me check them out. Like even with the new one, like we were talking a little bit about them, and like you were showing off some of them. Like we had discussion beforehand about jalapeno cornbread and how I've never tried jalapeno cornbread, and it's like. These little things, like they make me hungry as shit, but also like they're just fun little things where like if they hit that nostalgia right, you're like, oh hell yeah, man! Like I love that. So it works. Yeah, they're so fun. But I'm excited. I'm always excited for OPC decks. I mean, anyone can tell you that it's I don't know, man. They hit different, you know?
Yeah, that's what I want it to be. I want it to be an experience. Like my goal is for 2 years from now for you to pick up or see this on your shelf, or like a friend comes in and sees this on your shelf and they're like, oh, is that hot sauce? And then you don't just get to be like, yeah, it's a cool deck. You can say, yeah, they did a whole campaign where like there was two brothers and like there's this whole storyline, and like you can tell them about the story, and it's not just like, oh, it's just a cool deck,
Yeah.
So like the story sticks with you is what I want.
It's so funny because I was talking to my mom yesterday, and she's like, I was on your website and I was just blown away with the amount of different decks there are. And it's like people don't know the world of playing cards.
Without a doubt.
Nope.
Oh, they come over to my house. They come over to my house and I show them a couple decks and they're like, I had no idea. They look and see the display and they're like, what the heck is that? I'm like, they're all different playing cards, and people just have no clue as to how deep playing cards go. Everybody thinks playing cards are bicycle decks, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah. Until you tell people, they have no idea.
Yeah. Or show them, they're blown away.
Well, and even like you look at like the Theory 11 expansion into Target, like as much as that's up to custom playing card visibility, it's been minimally so. The amount of people who still pick those up, 9/10 out of 10, I bet you people who are picking up a Theory 11 deck at Target, it's because the bicycle decks are sold out. They need a deck of cards, and they're just like, fuck it, I'll pick it up, and they get it. And so that, even though it's like, hey, cool, this is a completely different deck of cards, like for every 100 people who see those, how many are really turning around and being like, let me explore more,
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the people that pick those up pick them up because they see, oh, SNL. Oh, Jimmy Fallon. Oh, and
that's all the ones I see. Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, they're all the popular decks that people are going to know what they are. So they see, because every time I go into a freaking Target, all those damn things are sold out. There's usually like a couple decks that they have laying around, but for the most part, they're always sold out. But yeah, people, I mean, they see them, and the ones that are there are the hot Victorians that are left over, or the navigators or whatever. They're always the ones that are. People don't know what they are, but when you walk in and you see SNL, they're familiar with
people. Like, I know what that is. Yeah.
I have to call this one out because David, again, you just made me laugh. I'm reading this comment here, and it's a 2-part comment. Even my dad doesn't understand it. He was very confused about why I went to Indiana to make a short film about cards. Primarily because he doesn't understand why people would live in Indiana.
Correct.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm sorry. That got me. Cam realized his mistake and now he's moving somewhere better.
I'm moving. Well, so David got here and he's like, David will tell you the humidity here, again, I'm saying it's no joke. David, I've said this at least 4 times since he's been gone. He said walking around outside in Indiana feels like if you could walk fast through a pool. That's how it feels. You're just walking normal through a pool of water. Like my clothes in my closet are damp. Like I just get my clothes and they're just damp.
That's too crazy, man.
It's so messed up, man.
Yeah.
It's so messed up. Yeah. So David can attest.
It's
imagine shooting a trailer in like 97% humidity.
See, this is why I'm also so glad that David and Caitlin come into these, because then Caitlin responds with, I could see Cam sweat through a FaceTime call and I thought he went swimming.
Yeah, it's legit, man. It will, because when 100% humidity, we looked this up, is when the air cannot absorb any more water. The air is at 100% of its water capacity. So if you sweat, it's not going to evaporate. So it just stays, and it's just. And I'm already a sweaty person. Like it's bad. So yeah, it's a time.
You know what? The East Coast isn't that much different on the humidity scale. Like I'd say in the summer average anywhere from like 70 to 100. So it'll be like home, but like nicer.
Nicer, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be like home, but better.
It'll be like home, but you'll be like close to things like New York City and Boston and all these other places. Canada.
Things in general.
Yes,
Canada.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things I'm most excited for.
The most humid states in 2021. And it's interesting because not only is Indiana high, like it's high up there, it's top 10 easy. But it's not even the hottest. Can you guess? I mean, the most humid. Can you guess what the most humid is?
Florida.
It's got to be. It's probably in the Midwest somewhere, isn't it? Really? It's
Alaska.
Not in the Midwest.
It's Alaska.
Oh, Alaska doesn't count. They're not a state. Like 10 people live there. Alaska doesn't count.
Dude, it's Alaska, bro.
Dude, they're by ice caps. What is
It's Alaska, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Hawaii, Iowa, Michigan, Indiana, Vermont, and Maine.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Louisiana for sure. I can see that.
Oh yeah. Fucking Bayou, man. Woo. Gets hot down there.
It does.
Dude.
Crazy.
But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm just excited to like travel.
Oh yeah.
Because like I want to meet up with people. Like the coolest thing ever was going to Cardistry Con in 2019. And like we've just not had that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I partially feel like the cardistry community was like on this acceleration ramp of like tons of people figuring out what it was, tons of people joining it. And at least from my perspective as like a owner of a brand, I've kind of seen that growth plateau over COVID. And I think that that's because there isn't the ability to have that in-person community interaction as much.
Right.
Even though a lot of us are spread out, I think that cardistry like grows through people getting their friends into the hobby, or like getting like people that they meet up with and like have cards and like do stuff with to like get into the hobby, because it's easier to learn in person than it is like on a video.
Yeah.
And having conventions and stuff, like it's going to be so much fun when we're able to like do that again. Yeah.
And so one of the questions that came in here was, since you'll be in Boston, will you be at the 52 Plus Joker convention in October?
Potentially. Boston is expensive.
Potentially? What do you mean potentially?
He's got to figure out price-wise if it's feasible.
Dude, I want to go.
Dude, just sell a couple of those Peelers V1 and you can go.
I only have 4 now that are sealed. I know that. I opened my 5th one.
Well, we appreciate that very much.
Yes.
I will open my last one probably when OPC is like 10 years old or something. That is when I will open my last sealed Peelers V1.
Bro, just print some more. Nobody will ever know.
Well, it won't be the same though. It won't be the same.
Nobody will ever know.
I've told people if we're eventually down the road going to reprint Peelers V1, it has to be different.
I'm saying for you.
Because,
for you.
Oh, just for me?
Yeah.
Just for me. Just the old.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it even says first edition 1 of 2000. So like it wasn't even, so it was just barely a 2,500 run.
And that was
That's
back in the day when you could do the whole crushed at 1,500 though.
Was that first one? That wasn't crushed though, was it?
This one, this isn't crushed.
Which is crazy because you could have crushed it.
Yeah. So
the first couple weren't crushed, right?
Up until Carver's, they weren't crushed.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, I think.
The closest deck to this,
he didn't really crush them.
Yeah, the closest deck to this is Peeler's V3, which is crushed bicycle.
Yeah,
that's the closest feeling deck to this. So I want to try to experiment with some more like crushed bicycle, but I know crushed B is just like is what again most of the community enjoys. They know how it's going to feel. Yeah. US PCC quality control is horrendous. So like it even depends on the day they print. Yeah. Like it's crazy. So it's crazy.
It's funny because when you print Catamundi, you pretty much you're gonna get what you're gonna get. It's gonna feel pretty much the same across all Catamundi decks. But they just came out with this deck it's the new Dynamo deck.
Oh yeah.
And it's the abandoned deck. Yeah, and it doesn't feel like Catamundi at all. It's weird.
Hey, you were saying it was very like stiff, right?
Yeah, I was wondering in my head, I'm like, I wonder if they printed it before they had the slimline B9. And maybe they just
it's been a while though since they haven't had the standard B9.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
maybe
who knows?
It doesn't feel anything like Catamundi. If anything, it definitely feels like the old Catamundi. Sure, it's not that thick.
Yeah.
So now, Cam, I have a question on another topic here that I'm kind of intrigued by. We're seeing this a lot in the cardistry community, in the industry. A lot of physical locations opening up. Now that you're going to be on the East Coast in a more populous area, can we maybe expect an OPC store to pop up at some point?
I think that, so again, like starting off from Peeler's V1, the goal was to just like make a deck of cards and own like 12 of them for myself. That was like the goal. And so after that happened, like, everything was just extra. And then, of course, the next goal after that was for OPC to be something that could be like my most of the time job.
Okay.
That could support me financially. That was like my next kind of like, this would be crazy if like this could happen. And like, I don't make a ton from OPC, but like I do now make enough, especially now that we're printing 5K, 7K runs, that it will support me like half, if not like 3/4 financially.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, what is the next like thing? And I think that it is opening a physical location because I think that would just be super freaking cool. Yeah. But I also don't want it to just be cardistry cards and like OPC cards.
Yeah, I don't think it can.
No.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's cool, but I've noticed a lot of similarities between cardistry and Magic communities and actually like other like tabletop TCG games. Now, of course, this is coming into all the stuff behind me. I'm into the Pokemon TCG. I play competitively. And I think that being in that other kind of niche community, there are a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that kind of feel the same.
You want to know what the similarity is? There's one major similarity. And it's geek.
It is.
It's geeks and nerds. That's the similarity.
And like it's like, I think that having just a card, like they're all cards. It's all paper. It's all card. It's all the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just how we use them, the crush, the stock, So I think it would be cool to like, eventually I think it could be really sweet to open up a physical location that doesn't just sell OPC decks and like teach cardistry, but also sells, trading card game product as well as, gamblers is an interesting subject with me. And if I could just fulfill everything myself, I would.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because if we have a physical location, we could have in the back our own fulfillment.
Yeah. I'm guessing the logistics of the exotic deck maybe put a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth.
No,
All right.
it's well, it's like that. It's just in general. Like it's just like yeah. Without going too
It's
far
just
into
not being
it,
able to control a big part of your business.
correct.
Yeah.
But yes, we will leave it at that. My hands are not on it, and if somebody messes something up, they don't care because it doesn't look bad on them. It
Yeah.
looks bad on us.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
It's like
you know what it's all about, Ty.
right.
Yeah.
I just want to have control over everything.
Yeah.
You know, and
Makes
that's
sense.
kind of the control freak in me. But
Well,
you know,
it's not
like
so
I
much
think
control freak. It's like that's the business side of it. Like you
yeah,
want to make sure that 100% of your business is done properly. You know, I don't think
right.
it's controlling. I think it's a smart business move. You
I mean,
know?
it
Right.
can be both. It is controlling, but it's also a smart business move.
Right.
Yeah, but
And
I
that's
mean,
fine.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing too, is that like if we're shipping out everything from a location, it doesn't just like it creates jobs for other people. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't just be me working there. It also creates like a place for things to happen rather than like my home.
right.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah, it
also
gives you that
creates
good work-life balance.
it also creates a place for people to come and learn cardistry.
Yeah.
Like it instead of just on the internet. You know what I mean? And I know that the Fontaine store is kind of like the mecca of cardistry out on the West Coast. We don't have anything like that on the East Coast yet. And I think that like other than like, you know, Tannins in New York, right? That's the magic shop in New York is Tannins, New York City. Like other than that, but for cardistry, there's no real like I might be wrong, but there's no like physical store for any like cardistry brand on the East Coast, correct?
I think actually, hold on, where? Oh, never mind.
If not, I
know.
never hear about it.
No, because I know anyone just opened a shop, but I
That's
wasn't
in
sure where it
Denmark.
actually was. Yeah, it's in Denmark. So
That's in
interesting to
Denmark.
see.
Yeah.
So hey, you'd be that middle point there.
Right. So like, you know, it would be like, you know, you've got Fontaine West Coast, OPC East Coast, anyone in Denmark. You know what I mean? It could be like, you know, it's going to be I think it's also a responsibility of the companies that are invested in this community to contribute to it.
Yeah.
And I think that like brands have a very different way of doing that. And not to get into a lot of stuff, but I very much prefer the way that we do it in terms of we're not just trying to cultivate the community that already exists.
Yeah.
Like we started as an entry point for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And like that's super important to me because you know, I feel like there are people that I know that have left cardistry that are just done with it. They don't, and it's either they got wronged by somebody or they're just tired of not being able to like keep up with, you know, the amount of decks that you have to buy to like feel invested in the community
or to feel cool,
you know?
and included in this community.
Right. And then that like it literally breaks my heart because I know how much joy and how much passion that cardistry and cards has brought me. And like to be a company in the sphere of this community and like not try to contribute to that is like the worst thing that I think could happen for the community of cards. Because without cardistry and playing cards, like I'm just a regular person. Like I'm very much just like I'm gonna go work a 9 to 5. Like the only reason I can do this is because of you guys and because of the community. So like I feel really responsible in terms of like building the community and making a bigger community to enjoy the things that I make.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So yeah, I want it to be kind of like a place for people to come and learn learn with each other too, you know, have community events.
That'd be dope.
So but yeah, so that's the goal. I think it would be super freaking cool. I also am like just graduated college and have no idea what that looks like in terms of running a business.
Dude, you'll
I don't
figure
know
it
the
out though.
financials.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
That's the
Space in
fun part of
Boston's
it.
probably expensive.
You know, that's the fun part of it. So many people go to school to learn about business and realize coming out of it that you don't know shit about business because hands-on is 99% of the time the better way to learn these things, you know? And part of it in going into it, and I think you're always cognizant of this, is you have to be willing to fail sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Again, like you said earlier, you didn't know what was going to happen with Shuckers. It turned out it worked, but again, that could have been, that was such a deviation from the norm. That could have been a flop. And thankfully it wasn't. Yeah, exactly. And like, I think ultimately, like that's being willing to take the risks, but also knowing that sometimes a risk turns out to fail is okay. As long as, and I think the biggest and the most important part of that from a business point of view is when you fail, it's okay to say, okay, we're done with that. You don't always have to try and fix a failure or recover from a failure. You can say, no, that didn't work. Done.
Yep.
So, dude,
yeah,
it's exciting.
It's all about the rise and fall and rise back up. You know, if it happens, it
because
happens.
if we could have a brick and mortar store,
that would be sick, dude. I'm gonna tell you, Steve and I would be there day one live streaming that shit for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it would be.
Janice would be there.
I'm not saying putting in Boston. I'm just saying somewhere on the East Coast.
But Janice would be there.
Yes.
Right.
We would.
Oh yeah.
That'll be exciting, man.
Her and Loretta can.
Her and Loretta can hit it off.
Talk about history.
I would love to just see David in the real world anywhere, bringing Loretta
with
out.
that on.
Oh
he
my God.
He already told me he's not. He's not gonna do it. He already said he's like I think he was like he put it all on and he's like, how did you talk me into this? like what Jedi mind trick did you do to get me to do this? Because he's like he was wearing one of my fiance's shirts and he was like he had the cardigan on, but he kept touching his hips because he's used to having a shirt there, and it just because it's it's a women's shirt, so it like has the V on the side, and he just kept like getting grossed out every time he would like touch his hips, and he's like, I don't like this. He's like, I'm not gonna wear this ever again.
That's funny.
I'm like, David, you will eventually.
He probably bought one on his way home.
Yeah, he did for sure. Well, I felt bad too because it was a shirt that my future mother-in-law gave McKenna.
Yeah.
And so when she saw that Loretta, the old grandma, was wearing her shirt, she was like, what the heck? Why'd it have to be my shirt?
That's funny.
You. What are you trying to say? That I'm old? And we were like, no. We were like, no, Shelly, you're not old. So
that's funny.
But yeah, the whole future of OPC, it's super exciting. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Yeah.
So
we are too, especially with all that Boston gear that you got on.
If you start going too far down the East Coast route, I'll be the first person to let you know. I'll be like, listen, I get it, but there don't need to be lobster rolls in every single deck.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. Like, what do you...
Oh, my God. I love it,
Dude,
man.
you're going to be right near Fenway. I'm sure you can come up with a few dope decks walking down Lansdowne Street.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So, and, speaking on that, too, someone actually did ask, and I don't think we have the time to necessarily run through your entire creative process, but they did ask what your kind of creative process was. And I want to see if you could maybe give us a little bit of like a 10,000-foot view of that process for you.
So if you want to kind of look into this, I made a video about like making your own deck to talk about the logistics of it. And in terms of like how long it takes to get from like point A to point B. But to kind of like break it up, it's very hard. Especially again, coming out with decks every 2 months, having different lines, because we can't make Squeezers V3 and then 2 decks later make Squeezers V4.
Yeah.
Like we have to have some time in between those. We also have to keep in mind back colors as well. Like we don't want to come out one year with too many red decks or too many like red warm color decks. We want to come out with some cool colors, some warm colors. It's like you don't want to make 2 red decks in a row because like I just feel like it's like the same kind of color palette.
And who would want to make 2 red decks in a row?
Right? Who wants that?
Yeah.
But then too, like, why would you come out with like a Squeezers deck which is supposed to be citrusy and like grapefruit? Why would you come out with that like for say in the middle of winter?
Yeah.
Like in the States, like why would you? You're going to be shooting outside in front of a bunch of snow. Like a deck like that would be, blueberries. It's got the blue tones in it. Like that's more of a wintry kind of deck, kind of feeling deck. So like we try to take into account seasons. We try to take into account color palettes. We try to take into account, new lines, when they're coming, when like we're doing renditions and like changes of lines. So then in my brain / on a piece of paper somewhere is like a huge roadmap of like, I try to come up with decks for like at least decks that are a year in advance. So like I technically have, I think all of next year's decks already planned out.
Nice.
Of like what I want them to be and like what order I want them to be in and different ideas. Now, if that stays the same, things change. You have to be adaptable in terms of being a business. But because of COVID, we had to change some things up. A lot of people, we were going to do a pumpkin carvers last year, and a lot of people got upset when that wasn't the deck that dropped. It was avocados instead.
Right.
But because of COVID, we didn't know if we were going to hit that like October deadline.
Yeah.
So we had to switch it up and do a different deck. So like, there's a lot of different factors that you have to take into account, and then kind of do the thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, my creative process is just like, what I think would be cool. It's a lot of shower thoughts, a lot of walks. I don't know. A lot of just like kind of coming up with what I think would be cool. Or if I'm in the grocery store and I'm like, oh, that would be a cool deck. Like, you have to write your ideas down.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
So
that's for damn sure.
Because then you'll forget. I'm very forgetful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you got to figure not every idea comes to fruition. For every idea you have, there's probably, I don't know what the percentage is. Maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 80%, but like that's part of the whole process is you have to go through all the bad ideas to get to those good ones.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So
very true. That
is my synopsis. That is my Cliff Notes version.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So
yeah, dude.
I wouldn't trade it for the world though.
Just picking a color is a lot of work.
I've also come to realize though that like if I ever had to be like, oh, let me think of someone to pick a color for me, it wouldn't be Steve, because his bias against red is so strong that he will never suggest anything in the whole like red spectrum.
No, I totally would. So here's the thing. I when I'm excuse me, when I'm creating a deck, I guess you could say, when I'm thinking of a deck, if a deck ultimately would look better red, I may not like it, but it's the customer who is buying it, so ultimately I would make it in red. Would I pick it for me? No, of course. Would I prefer someone to put a deck in any other color other than red? Definitely. Oh, Jackson, suck it.
Steve sucks. Red is the best.
Blue's the best for sure. Steve sucks.
We were just talking about this earlier too, and it's really interesting to see because, like, you think of playing cards, they're always blue and red. They're always blue and red because, and there's got to be an even split. Like, it's got to be somewhere someone did some color study back in the day, and it's like, what are everyone's two favorite colors? And those must have been it. And it's interesting. They're also obviously polar opposites of the spectrum, so it makes some sense there. But yeah, we see a lot of times now we see decks coming out in like red and green pairs, and it's like, that's an interesting route. Like, I'd almost say like a green doesn't necessarily go with red unless it's Christmassy. Like a red and blue would have been a safer bet, but maybe people were like, hey, I like the green better, and so we'll go with it. It's
dude,
like,
I love green decks.
If they're done well. There's a wide spectrum of green where, like, I don't know, like, as much as like I think for avocados you have more of like a yellowy green, there's a whole like spectrum of yellow green that to me is just a dangerous color zone.
No, I mean green. Like, I'm talking like the
like Kelly green traditional.
Cardist Alive.
Yes. Yeah, like a primary like, green. Yeah. Well, not primary, but
I like forest green, like dark green.
Yep.
Or sage green, too. Like that light green is super nice.
Yeah, like I think the Madison Rounders had a forest green that I really dug.
Yeah.
Nice.
Back in the day. So yeah, no, I love green decks.
Yeah.
But yeah, and again, like we want to try to also be fun with our colors too. So like, we've not made a black deck yet, just because like colors.
Or a white one.
Or a white one. We've not made a white deck yet either.
Dude, I have a perfect fruit for a white deck.
Do you? Mm-hmm. We'll see if it matches what we have printed.
I'm gonna guess right now.
Okay.
Oh, in the private, Steve's gonna terrible.
But let me make sure it's in the private.
Just say that loud.
There you go. I just posted
I can see the comments. Oh, I didn't know I could see this. A garlic deck.
Did you see that? Do you see what I wrote?
Oh no, it's not.
Oh, I hate you.
It's not. That's not what it is.
That would have been dope, though.
There's a lot of
I
options.
didn't know I could see the comments. I've just been going blind this whole time.
That's fine.
It's best to go blind. That way
we recommend it that way. It's so easy to get sidetracked, especially Caitlin and David have been having this little like interesting spat throughout earlier where it was just like, all right, like it's easy to get sucked in. We love it. We love the drama. But Cam, I am so excited just to see where OPC is going. And again, like not just the brand, but and that's the funny thing about it. Like I find it very hard to divorce the brand from you, and that's a good thing. But at the same time too, like I think there's also monumental things happening in your life now that are separate and apart from OPC. And I think that's exciting as well, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like, again, like I think on like a good note to leave off on is like, I was having this talk with somebody the other day, and it's because when you come out with the deck, right, it's part of you. And like, if people don't like it, it's easy to take that personally because like you put yourself into the project.
Yeah.
If you put yourself, like if they don't like the deck, they don't like you. And like, I always like want to put 100% of myself into the things that I do. So like, I don't think I would want it any other way. Like I want you to be like, oh my gosh, like that's when Cam must have moved to Boston because like there's all this stuff in the trailers, or like, you know, there's like these different types of styles of decks, or like, you know, I want the brand to evolve with me as a person. And I think that that's kind of like the way I would always dream of having it. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like you guys are on a journey with me, not, you know, just watching it from the outside, you know?
No, for sure.
So, David asked me to tell the story about making coffee. This can be the last story I tell. I get very distracted. I said I'm very forgetful. I write everything down. I need to go see a doctor. I think I have ADHD, like high functioning, and I just have never noticed it before. Because David, literally, I would go make a pot of coffee and then just get like doing 12 other things and forget the coffee ever happened. And then I would sit down like 30 or 50 minutes later and be like, oh my gosh, I never made my coffee. So David started being like, you know, oh, you never made your coffee. He said, don't go make your coffee. Go do something. And I was trying to be like, you know, haha, funny. I can remember to make my coffee. Like, I know that this is a problem. So I went and I like flipped the bathroom light off. And then McKenna was like, hey, babe, come look at this TikTok. So I went and looked at the TikTok. And then I was like, okay. And then I went and almost sat right back down. And I was like, no! I was like, I'm going to make this coffee. Dude, it was like, you know, it had been on for hours.
There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Everybody does that.
We're all sidetracked easily. That's the wonder of the technology age, my friend.
I'm like sure, dude.
I'm sure David's dressed as Loretta right now because he forgot to take that shit off.
He had to get in character to make his calls, dude.
To make his call.
I'm gonna tell you, it's so easy to get sidetracked these days. Especially TikTok is dangerously distracting.
That's why
it is dangerous. The TikToks, yeah, it's a dangerous place.
Dangerous place. But I'm glad you got your coffee, Cam. Honestly, we are so excited for everything coming up for you, for OPC, for anyone who hasn't checked them out yet. The peppers are dropping on the 14th at 1 p.m. Yes, Wednesday the 14th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 11 a.m., 10 a.m. for Pacific Standard, 10 a.m. for Pacific, 10. And then some, if you're in Europe, you got to figure that out on your own.
Yeah, we don't care about you guys. You should figure it out.
But yes, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday the 14th. Pick them up. The nice thing is they're not going to sell out immediately, but you should be on time so you can pick them up. And also while you're there, you can still make sure to pick up the passport stickers for anyone who hasn't redeemed the exotic deck, which I think is awesome. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, again, we'll show it again real quick here. This is the exotic, at least the top there, which is pineapple themed. So between that and let's hear it, my man.
How did I forget? The mugs are here.
The mugs are dope.
The mugs and sticker packs are here.
Nice.
You can also buy mugs and sticker packs with these.
Oh,
so cool. They got here so close to this launch that we just wanted, for international people especially, we wanted you to be able to save on shipping. So just get it all together. So the mugs, if you check out our Instagram, they're color changing, super cool. Took forever to get to us. And sticker packs of all the past like fruits that we've done. Plus there are a couple rare stickers. One is a Grandpa Cam sticker, and the other is a sticker that's a hint at a future deck. So
there you go. That means everyone should be out there checking out the sticker packs, the mug, because I know how excited you were about the mug too. And I know it was such a bummer that it didn't make it for roasters, but I'm glad it's still on the table here. So for anyone who hasn't picked it up, check out the mug. Check out the new deck dropping this week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I cannot say this enough because someone's going to be like, I didn't know what time it was. You didn't know what time it was if you watched this show. So that's the truth of it. And thank you as always to everyone who came out tonight to support the show, to chat with us, and Cam, to have a good time, to Caitlin out there and David, who are always entertaining. And we love having you in the chat, guys. We love each and every one of you coming out. And I know for a fact that Cam loves each and every one of you for supporting the brand, because again, it is about community. It is about the OPC family. And we're just excited to have him on the East Coast soon too, so we can, chop it up.
Hang out.
Yes, it's going to be a blast. Thank you so much, everyone. If you haven't already, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And you'll make sure to tune in next week when our guest is Steve. Would you like to announce?
Go for it, bro.
Oh, well, sure. I'll do it now. Our guest next week is going to be Ashley Goodwin. She is going to be on at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Sunday. Super excited. We were supposed to have Ashley on a couple weeks ago, but due to scheduling conflicts on my side, we decided to shift it around. So I'm super excited she agreed to reschedule as easily as she did, and we are really pumped to have her on the show. She's an amazing magician. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a really fun time.
Yes.
So thank you,
also,
everyone.
Ring the bell.
Yes.
Ring the bell. It's always my job. Ring the bell. If you're not ringing the bell, then you don't know when they're going live. You don't know when they're posting videos. What are you even doing? What are you doing?
And that is why we love Cam. Say, there you go. There you go. Ring that bell.
Ring it.
And for everyone else out there, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We love you all, and we will see you next week.
Peace out, y'all.